Idris has joined us from Bangalore. Uh, and one question here, how long is the webinar? So webinar is 60 minutes long. So we'll be talking more about the Career Masterclass and also about the AWS Cloud Operations program here. So let's start the session. But before we start the session, let me also introduce you to Simplilearn. This program and webinar is powered by Simplilearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We have been in the digital skills space for more than a decade now, and we are very proud that we have transformed lives by empowering people via these digital skills. And the skill we'll be talking about today is the cloud computing category of programs in partnership with AWS. And we have quick ground rules here for the session. These ground rules are here to make sure that you have an amazing experience and you don't face any issues. So let me just quickly take you through these ground rules here. So in case you have any questions for our expert, you can put down your questions in the Q&A box. And also the session is being recorded. So you can expect a follow-up link with us with the recording link to view. You should receive that within 24 to 48 hours post-webinar. And if you're interested in getting a webinar certificate for attending this webinar, so we do have that as well. For that, you'll have to basically stay till the end. So this session is 60 minutes long. And once basically the session ends, just before that, I will be launching a poll, which will be asking you for your full name and what exactly is the name you would want to see on your certificate, so we can personalize the certificate and send it to you. Again, like you should receive this within 24 to 48 hours, and filling the webinar poll survey poll is pretty important for getting the basically getting the certificate here. Now moving on to the agenda slide here, starting with the first and the most important agenda, getting to know about you, how we can help you out in your career better. And the second agenda of today's session is the program introduction, the cloud operations on AWS. And we will be talking about the learning part of the program, the course outline followed by that. And what other AWS programs also you can take up. So more about that. And we'll be open to take your questions as well towards the end. But before that, we will also would love to know your interest in enrollment in any of the programs by AWS we'll be talking about. So yeah, that is just to sum up the entire agenda. But again, like the Q&A is secured towards the end. But in case you have any questions, or you can keep putting down your questions in the Q&A box. And if the time allows for our speaker, we will definitely try to address it during the session. If not, just have a little patience and we'll try to address it towards the end. So please don't worry about that. So yeah, just clearing that out. And I saw the number was increasing as I was speaking. A lot of folks have joined in. And I'll share the ground rules on the chart once again, like for a lot of folks who have just joined in. So please don't worry about that. I'll be there on the chart to help you out. Now, moving on to our speaker introduction, would like to welcome Parkash Bisht here. Parkash here is a AWS professional with over 16 years of experience in diverse technologies. He's skilled in AWS, VMware, and Microsoft solutions with a focus on strategic planning and technical training. And he has a proven track record of leading, mentoring, and enhancing the skills of technical teams. And he holds multiple AWS, certifications and more. We would love to know a little bit about Parkash from himself. So, a very good evening, Parkash. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we would love to know a little bit about you because I'm pretty sure the slide does not do justice to the amount of experience you have.
Hey, Rasha, thank you so much for introducing myself. And thank you everyone for joining in. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which part of the globe you're joining us from. My name is Parkash Bisht, and I'm working as a senior technical instructor with training and certification team of AWS India. And I do have overall 16th year of industry experience, wherein I've been delivering training programs on various product and services. From last few years, I'm doing it for AWS, but I do have worked with VMware, Microsoft, various other solutions. I've worked as a solution architect, consultant in my previous job role, and you can see my certifications in there. I do hold 6x AWS certification, including machine learning, network specialty, security specialty, and professional certifications, SysOps certifications, and various other Microsoft and VMware certifications. Today, I would like to talk about cloud operations on AWS with you, um, which I'm going to do shortly, right? Let Rasha take control of the screen for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to take you to the cloud operations on AWS. Rasha, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Prakash, for your introduction. And just want to also quickly tell the folks here, we have a very high attendance here. And let's keep the conversation professional on the chat here. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for cooperation. And yeah, let's start with the first poll of the session. As I mentioned, that the first agenda and the most important agenda is to get to know a little you better and how we can help you out. So now that we have seen your amazing introductions, and let's also get to know how many years of experience do you currently have. So I'm just launching this quick poll here, which says how many years of experience do you currently have? Again, we are not talking about AWS as a cloud experience. In general, you can share it with us. From the four options you can see on the screen, and a lot of you folks who are watching us live on our YouTube channel as well, you can share it on the YouTube live chat box. So the first option here is currently studying. Second option here is 0 to 3 years. And third option here is 3 to 5 years. And the fourth option here is more than 5 years. I see you folks are pretty quick here. Most of you have already responded. But let's give it 10-15 seconds more for other folks to quickly vote in. I'll share the results once we close the poll. Awesome. I see a few responses on the chat as well. That's great, folks. I see most of the folks have responded. So last 5 seconds for the poll here. So how many years of experience do you currently have? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and share the results with you folks and our expert Prakash here. So yeah, sharing it. So let's see what have you voted for. So 36% of you are currently studying, 32% of you have 0 to 3 years of experience, and 8% of you have 3 to 5 years of experience, and 24% of you have voted for more than 5 years. So I see a balanced crowd here of experienced and freshers here. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now moving on to the next poll question before we start the session. Where are you in your AWS journey? So I'm launching this poll, and you can select from the four options which you can see on your screen. Clearly, you are here because you're interested in AWS and cloud computing, and you want to explore more. So the first option here is if you're an aspiring learner, you can choose that. And the second option, if you've already started like a beginner, you can select that option. And the third option, intermediate, and the fourth option, advanced. So this will definitely help our expert Prakash, to get an understanding of what kind of audience has joined us, and with what kind of level of experience do you have? Where are you there in your career right now when it comes to AWS? Awesome. I see Rohit has responded on the chat as well. More than 5 years advanced. Oh, great to have you, Rohit. And I see a few responses for intermediate as well. A lot more responses on the YouTube live chat box as well. Awesome. I see most of you responded, but let's give it 10-15 more seconds. Great, great. Last 5 seconds for the poll, folks. Where are you in your AWS journey? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. And hundreds of you have responded. Thank you, folks, for the cooperation here. And yeah, let me just quickly share the responses as well with our expert Prakash here. So 40% of you have responded for aspiring learner, and 46% of you have responded for beginner, 11% of you have responded for intermediate, and 2% of you responded for advanced. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That definitely gives Prakash, our expert, an understanding of where are you in your AWS journey, so he can tailor his responses accordingly throughout the session to help you out in navigating through this journey as well. So yeah, now starting with the introduction of the AWS Cloud Operations on AWS program here. This program is an AWS Advanced Tier Training Partner, and it is delivered by both AWS and Full Stack Academy. We have official AWS live class training content here, which are covered. We have self-paced learning videos authored by AWS. We have AWS Skill Builder Labs. We'll be talking more about that. Maybe I'll be able to also show you what exactly are these labs, and how do they look like? How do you access them? On the learning man system, which is provided by Simplilearn. And yeah, this particular program is a 3-day instructor-led training course for accelerated learning, and the live online training is from AWS authorized instructors. And we have one of them here. We have one of the amazing instructors, Parkash Bisht, here with us to take you through this journey. So, starting with what are the skills covered in this program, Prakash?
So this is Cloud Operations on AWS, which is a 3 days training program. And majorly this program teaches the participants on how to work with AWS. So we call it day 2 activities, right? So when you start working with AWS, and what are the day-to-day operations a cloud operations engineer need to perform in AWS. So this course focuses majorly on that. So the skills included automation, repeatable deployment, because in the cloud, organizations will be continuously deploying multiple architecture, multiple infrastructure on different projects or different regions, right? So we need an approach using which we can automate the deployment, which makes it fast, which makes it efficient and error-free as well. So how to automate and do the deployment, repeatable deployment, that is one of the things. Apart from that, if you look at the today's workload, the workloads are very dynamic in nature. Sometimes in the internet era, the things can go pretty popular, pretty viral very easily, and all of a sudden more traffic can come in. So we need infrastructures which can handle the dynamic workload. For that, your infrastructure need to scale. So you see the third point here, that is auto scaling. So how to do the infrastructure scaling, we'll be understanding that in this particular course. Um, Another skill that is required is monitoring and maintaining the health systems. So how to do the monitoring in our infrastructure, which is basically the need of any infrastructure out there, which is an important aspect for the cloud operation engineer as well. We'll be learning in this course as well. Costing is a major aspect for any of the organization. They want to keep the cost low. So how to do the cost optimization? This is the next point here. Managing access to AWS resources. You want to get connected, you want to perform your activities, you want to work with those resources, you want to evaluate like how many resources are there, which is about managing the access to the AWS resources. And then the life cycle of resources. Your resources will go over the period of time, you will deploy it, you will use it, and eventually you will terminate those resources, you will delete those resources, right? Can we automate that life cycle? The same thing goes through with your servers, with your data. So how to take care of that life cycle management? We cover that. Your resources need to talk to each other. Your resources need to talk to the internet. Your customers from internet need to get connected to your services, like web services, say, for example, right? So we need to understand the networking aspect for that. And as a cloud operations engineer, you need to perform those networking related tasks often. So we do cover that in this course as well. And also the latency and performance. So how to bring that performance excellence into the infrastructures. We need to do the fine tuning on that on a regular basis. So some tips and tricks on the performance optimization, we cover that. And also the data, which is important for any organizations, and we do need to take care a lot more data than ever before. So we do have services like S3, which is simple storage service, which can handle unlimited amount of data. So we do cover and talk about that as well. Right?
Yes. Moving on to the next slide, Prakash.
Yep, please.
Talking about the eligibility and the prerequisites here. So, who exactly is, eligible to take up the program? And also, like, I've asked, quick sound and slide visibility check on the chat as well, because I saw a few of the folks were facing an issue. So you can reply by responding yes or no on the chat if it's visible to you, if they are clearly audible to you. So please do that, and please feel free to raise, a question in case any issues at your end. So quickly talking about the eligibility here. So this certification preparation course is intended for candidates who may be system administrators, operators who are operating in the AWS cloud, and IT workers who want to increase their cloud operations knowledge. And prerequisite for this program is we recommend that attendees of this course have completed the AWS Technical Essentials classroom training and have a background in either software development or systems administration, proficiency in maintaining operating systems at the command line, and basic knowledge of networking protocols like TCP, IP, HTTP. Maybe Prakash, would you like to also comment here, talking about the eligibility and prerequisite? Because we can see a lot of folks who have joined us. Either they have completed the basic one, either they have completed the advanced one. So we have a lot of folks, from different maybe journeys here.
Yep. And I noticed that more than 80%, in fact, 86% of the participants, they are starting their journey with the AWS cloud. So this course is an excellent one for those who are willing to learn about how the things are working in the AWS environment. Although we do have some prerequisites mentioned in this slide, folks, but the prerequisites, these are not mandatory prerequisites. These are good to have prerequisites. You see the very first point here in the bottom section, prerequisites, which is saying complete the AWS Technical Essential. So AWS Technical Essential is basically a very small one-day training program that we have. We, in fact, do have the AWS Technical Essentials in our learning portal in AWS called AWS Skill Builder. So those who are starting and they want to get some idea like how AWS provide the services to its customer, how it is managing to run the infrastructure, look out AWS Skill Builder, and then in there, create an account. You can create a free account and check out AWS Technical Essential course there. Okay. This is a free enrollment that you can do. Go through with it. You will be understanding a lot about it. Okay. And that is actually the prerequisites for cloud operations on AWS. Okay, so go through with that. Who is eligible for it? Well, a lot of you. Those who are willing to start their journey with the AWS cloud, this course is for you. And those who are already in the job, they are working, they need to handle the operations in the AWS cloud. This course will help them to perform their job more efficiently, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that, Prakash. Let us know if you have any questions about the eligibility and prerequisites of this program. We are open to your questions in the Q&A box. We have already started getting some interesting questions there. Now, moving on to the cloud operations or AWS course outline. Starting with the D1 of cloud operations on AWS.
Yeah, probably I can take this one. So folks, as I mentioned, this is a 3 days training program. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the agenda for each day, which will give you the idea like what to expect, or by the end of the third day, what do you learn in this course, right? So on day one of this training program, we start with module one, that is introduction to cloud operations on the AWS environment. So in this module, we'll learn basically like what are the job responsibilities of an cloud operation engineer, what are the day-to-day tasks they perform, and what is expected out of their job, right? So we teach you that particular task in this particular section. Apart from that, we also talk about AWS well-architected framework. AWS well-architected framework is basically a framework that AWS has created. So all the learning of more than 2 decades that AWS has done, looking at multiple enterprise customers, the learning that AWS has done, the experience that AWS has gained, AWS has created the framework out of it, has documented those learning, which is AWS well-architected framework, which is actually available on the internet as well. You can go through on the AWS web pages, you can find the framework as well. But in order to understand that, we do have covered it in this particular training, which will give you the best practices to operate in the AWS cloud environment. Okay, so that is something which you do in module number one. Module number two, if you see, this is access management. And this probably, as the name suggested, this basically teaches you that how to perform the access control and delegation mechanism. So things like which user can perform what activities on which resources, and how you deny certain activities not to be performed in your organization. This is something which is about access management. And this is important for the security and for the things like our users should be able to perform their job efficiently. So we talk about it, and this is an important day two job as well. Module number three, if you see, this is about system discovery. And in this module, we tell you the methods to interact with AWS services. We do have in AWS, there are multiple methods, like we do have AWS Management Console, using which you can uh, use the GUI methods, graphical methods in order to get connected with the things. But the other options like command line options, SDKs options are also available, using which you can make your communication efficiently depending on what job you need to perform. So we do talk about those different methods in order to get connected with it. But also we talk about a particular service called System Manager, which is an excellent day-to service in order to perform your day-to-day job. For example, you need to manage the resources. So how to deploy the resources, how to take care of the configuration of those resources, right? Because ideally, in order to maintain a good governance in your organizations, you want to make sure that the configuration of your resources are consistent. Again, when you need to manage the resources in an enterprise and you need to take care of thousands or probably millions of resources, you need some services, some methods using which you can, in a centralized method, you can maintain their consistency, configuration, right? Which is important uh, for the operations and also for security. So we do talk about a particular service called AWS config, using which you can do all these jobs. Okay. Apart from that, we do have hands-on labs as well, right? So throughout these modules, you will be getting the hands-on labs as well, which we can talk about in a bit from now. But if I continue and if I talk about module number 4, what you learn in this particular module is you understand how to deploy and update your resources in the AWS cloud environment. Okay, as I mentioned, they can be depending on the size of the organization. So if mid to enterprise organization you talk about, they probably are dealing with millions of resources that they have deployed for handling their workload or to handle to meet their business requirements, right? So how do we manage it, right? How do we take care of those things? Probably we can do some sort of tagging on those resources or create some categorization on those resources. So that will make the things easier for management. And how to do that tagging, how to do that categorization, this is the objective of module number 4. Okay. And also let me tell you, the customers, the AWS customers, they create multiple AWS account, right? So basically, in order to get started and in order to deploy the resources, you need to create an AWS account. And like that, organization create multiple AWS account for different departments, different environments that will help them to manage their internal IT in a more managed way, basically, right? But when you have multiple AWS account, which eventually organizations will be working with, and you'll find that enterprises are dealing with even hundreds of AWS account, right? So how do we take care of those hundreds of AWS account? We do have services for that. So how do we manage it? How organization enterprises manages it? We talk about that in module number 4. And module number 5, I think the name, if you see, automate resource deployment, um, you do the automation of the resource deployment. And let me tell you, in the cloud especially, right, this is not just one-time deployment that organization do. In the cloud especially, the resources we or the infrastructure that we deploy, many times this is like the disposable resources that we are using. Because one of the thing that I mentioned previously, you want to optimize on the cost as well. So as when the workload is not running, you probably want to terminate your resources. And when you need those resources back, you want to deploy those resources, right? In another scenario, you are running application version 1, probably you will come down the line, you will come up with version 2 of your application, right? So you need to have a different infrastructures for that. It's easy today in the cloud in order to deploy multiple different infrastructures for different versions of the applications. But for that, who will be deploying it? Can we do it automatically? Do we have any services in AWS which can do that automation for us? The answer is yes. You can deploy it, not just to save your efforts, but also to save on the time and to avoid the errors that could be there when you are deploying the resources. So automate resource deployment is the key. How to do it? This is what we cover in module number 5. Okay. If you have any questions, keep them coming, put it in the Q&A section, right? Probably we can take it later on in the interest of time, right? So we keep it for the end, right? Great. Thank you, Rasha. Can we move to the next slide?
Yes.
Right. So this is this is day two actually. And on day two as well, we have 5 modules planned. The module number 6 is about managing the resources, right? So we do have a service called System Manager, and using which we can do a lot of things. For example, the secret management, right? Your applications need to read the stuff or write the stuff on your database, say for example, but how about the credentials of that database, right? And let me tell you a tip. It's not a good idea to write your credentials inside the application code when it is trying to read the stuff from the database, right? That is not a security good idea, right? So if that is not the case, how my application is gonna know about the credentials of my database? So for that, there are separate stores that you can manage, like, kind of secret store wherein you can store your credential, and if your application can read the things from here, you can specify who can read the credentials from there, and from there, uh, the access can be granted, the credential can be granted, right? So this is just one of the way which basically talks about how to manage the resources. But the other things like how do I update my stuff, my OS, how do I upgrade my stuff, right? How do I manage the resources? How can I do the automation? Those are important aspect. We cover it in module number 6. Okay. Module number 7 is about high availability. And if you look at, if you look at the best practices, which you can find it in the web well architected framework as well. So one of the best practices for almost any infrastructures out there is to avoid single point of failure, right? Something is failing, we don't want our services or our system to go down. So how do we avoid that infrastructure failure, hardware failure, say for example, right? How to maintain the high availability, module number 7. Automate scaling. So we do have a service called auto scale, using which you can scale your infrastructure, scale out, scale in. You can define your conditions, like when do you want your system to scale out or scale in, and accordingly, automatically, as the name suggests, the system can take care the capacity, enough capacity in order to handle your demand. Okay, module number 8. Module number 9 is about monitoring and maintaining the system health. And folks, uh, no infrastructure can survive without a good monitoring. Okay, and it's a fact. Okay, or probably in other words, without a good monitoring system, regardless of what kind of infrastructure you have, probably that won't survive too long. So how do we monitor our resources in order to make sure that they are maintaining a good system health and there is no performance constraints or issues or metrics reaching up to very high hot level, right? We don't want to get into those situations, or probably if we are going to that situation, we need to get notified, and probably we can take the timely actions, maybe increase the resources. Maybe you can look at point number 8 here, auto scale. So can we call the alerts and increase the capacity, call auto scale? The answer is yes, but how that integration works, how to monitor, what are the monitoring services, those understanding are crucial in order to set this thing up. Okay, so that is module number 9, right? Module number 10 is about data security and the system auditing, right? So data security is crucial for all the organization. Data is the new fuel, they say, right? And which is a fact as well. You want to maintain your confidential data secure. In fact, you should be doing the classification of your data, like which data are you talking about? Should this data be accessible to your customers over the internet? Or maybe it is some sort of confidential data and only the specific users should have access to it, right? So data security, the encryption part of it, the accessibility part of it, the high availability part for your data, we talk about that in module number 10. Okay. And also, the system auditing part. Like, say, for example, somebody is trying to delete my data, for example, right? So, or probably somebody shut down my virtual server, which was running my application. So, first of all, you should be doing the access management, which we need to cover in module 2. But let's say you want to figure out who is actually doing this thing, who deleted my specific system, from which IP, from which at what date, what time, which user account. You want to do that auditing, right? So how to do that in module 10? That is what we cover, right? Super. So this is day 2. Day 3, Russia, next slide, please. So day 3, we start the day with, obviously, folks, one thing on day 1, day 2, we usually try to give you a recap of the stuff. So day 3, because you will be learning a lot in the previous 2 days, we give you a quick recap before the start of the day 3. And then in module number 11, we started with the fresh module. And in module 11, we talk about how to operate secure and resilient network in the module number 11, right? So in AWS, we do have a service called Virtual Private Cloud, or VPC, right? Which helps you to set up the network in the AWS environment. Okay. Um, so your virtual servers, your resources, your applications, your databases, your web app DB, the typical 3-tier architecture, if I talk about, those need to communicate with each other. And also your customers sitting over the internet, they want to access your services, your web services, right? So how to provide the access to those customers over the network who are willing to use your services? We talk about that in module number 11. Okay, but at the same time, it raises a very important question, which is like how to make it secure. How do we ensure that only those stuff need to be accessible from the internet, which we really want to make it accessible? Okay, for example, your application code or your databases, say, for example, we do not want that stuff to be accessible. Okay, so how do we do the segmentation within the network and make sure that only the specific part of our network or sub network is accessible from the internet? That is an important consideration, right? Plus the firewalls, right? From where, over which port, which resources should be accessible. That is module 11. Okay. Module 12 is about mountable storage. So as I mentioned, we need to deal with a lot of data today, for which we need different type of storages. Okay. Typically in the industry, there are 3 type of storage which will be required. I'm talking about the types, not a specific storage that I'm mentioning. So 3 types: we got block level storage, we got file level storage, and we got object level storage. Okay. Block level and file level storage, these are mountable storage, which we cover it in module number 12. So your virtual servers, they will be getting connected to it. Okay. We also talk about the third type, which is object-based storage. Okay. S3, I named that service before, Simple Storage Service, which is an AWS service. We call it S3 because there are 3 S, right? So how to work with S3, how to work with mountable storage, EBS, EFS in the AWS environment, we talk about it. Okay. And there are a lot of use cases, there are a lot of features which enterprises are using today. A lot of such discussions that we have in module number 13. Okay, object storage. And in fact, module 12 as well for specific use cases. The last module in this course is actually an important one, actually, and that is about the cost. You are using services in the AWS environment, and a lot of those services are generating the cost as well. So you want to ensure that uh, you you can keep an eye on that. You can analyze those reporting as well, like which services in which AWS account is generating what amount of bill. That is the cost reporting. Organizations need to evaluate that, they need to analyze it, and considering multiple AWS account that I mentioned previously, That could make the life difficult, but then we have the centralized approach using which you can manage your cost reporting in a centralized, in much easier manner. Okay, cost reporting plus alerting part of it. Let's say you want that if the billing reaches up to a certain level, right? You want to generate the alerts that, for example, let's say I am learning about AWS and I don't want to pay much. So what I can do is probably I say $100 is what I maximum want to pay, but at 80%, if reaches 80%, I want to get the alert so that I can reduce my usage or take the necessary actions in order to control on those costs, right? So alerts and the optimization on the cost. Cost optimization, by the way, is an ongoing journey, right? Because new services, new features will keep coming as well. But cost optimization, tips and tricks related to that, solutions, services which can help you in order to do that. We talk about it module 14. Okay, so these are the 4 modules that we cover on day 3 of this training program. That is cloud operations on AWS. Right. Thank you, Resha. I'll see if there are some questions. I'll try to answer some of those questions probably in
Sure,
the
sure,
chat,
Parkash.
but it's over to you.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for taking us through the course
Thank you very
outline.
much. Yeah.
And
Folks, if
we
you
will
have any,
have some very good questions, by the way, in the
yeah,
Q&A.
I'll be interested to see that. But folks, keep them coming. I mean, let your question, put it in the chat. Let me answer those questions from there. Over to you,
Sure,
Rasha.
sure, sure.
Thank you.
Let me also share about the exam and certification. I think these are almost like, the questions we get, like for the AWS courses for this particular one. So what is the cost of your enrollment will include? So to answer that, so the enrollment cost includes access to all course materials, course instruction, certificate of course completion. While we highly recommend completing the relevant certification exam, sitting for the exam is not required to finish the course. And the prices for courses do not include the exam cost for certifications. Exam vouchers can be purchased through the certifying body. And the next one, when would you get access to course content and labs? So you will get access to course content and labs 24 hours before the first day of your training session. I can show you that in the learning management system of Simplilearn. But before that, also would like to complete like what exactly you'll be getting from this program. So you will be getting a certificate of completion for for the program here, and this will be by AWS, our training partner, and also our delivery partner, Full Stack Academy. You can see here, AWS as the partner network and the training partner, and Full Stack Academy here, and your name will be here for the course name here for the AWS operations on cloud. And also, just to summarize it, maybe Prakash, you can take us through what exactly they'll be getting from this program, along with the 3D module, which we have already covered.
Oh, yes. So we in AWS, we offer live classroom trainings, which including this particular training plus many other courses that we have. So it depends on what you will, what is your interest area and what do you want to learn in AWS. We do have a lot of training programs. I noticed one questions in the chat. Apologies if I'm not taking the questions of others, but one questions particularly grabbed my attention, like what is the difference between cloud operations and the cloud architecture, for example, right? So the cloud operations is like day-to-day job when you're performing in the AWS environment, right? Versus the architecting part of it, which we call it as day 0 or day 1 job, wherein you are designing the solutions, right? So it depends on what is your job requirement as of now. So if you are designing the solutions, that is the solution architect, cloud architect. And when you are performing the day-to-day job, that is cloud operations. Okay, so we do have like this. There are a lot of services, a lot of courses, security related, migration related in our AWS live class trainings. Okay, we also do have skill builder, which can be used in order to get a lot of free trainings, plus subscription based trainings are also available. Right, Raisha, over to you.
Yeah, sure. And they also can explore our best AWS courses as well, based on their interest and experience. And these are the three, other best courses we have among many. So DevOps engineering on AWS, and advanced architecting on AWS and AWS Cloud Architect. Maybe you can share a comment on these courses as well. AWS being one of our partners here.
Correct. Probably the right one first. I'll be talking about AWS Cloud Architect. So this is like the solution architect that I was talking about. So if you are willing to learn about how to design simple to complex architectures in the AWS environment, this is the course for you. AWS Cloud Architect, which is the first level training program to learn about the architecting in AWS. The second one is in the center is advanced architecting on AWS, which is a more professional, a little more complex course. So it will be recommended that you first attend the AWS Cloud Architect, or probably you gain the equivalent working experience. Uh, then you join the advanced architecting, because we build the things on top of AWS Cloud Architect. Okay. And DevOps engineering is basically for our DevOps folks. So the DevOps basically combining of two terms, developing and operations, right? And many organizations are using it together. DevOps is a new role, basically, DevOps engineering, right? So we do have a course on that, DevOps and DevOps engineering on AWS. So for DevOps folks, this will be a good one. Yep.
Also, I think you talked about the labs as well, right? How hands-on they are. So let me do one thing.
Absolutely.
Let me just maybe go to the learning mind system of Simplilearn,
Yep.
which is provided once you take up the program. So let me just quickly do that. Let me just go back and open the learning mind system by Simplilearn for you. So one of the programs, we will just give you an example. So this is for the AWS Cloud Architect course Masters program. And this is in partnerships with AWS as our partner. And this is the Simplilearn's Learning Mind System portal, which is what you get once you start the program. And yeah, within 24 hours, the course is assigned to you, when you basically share the request to enroll. And yeah, this is the course outline here, and basically covering the AWS Cloud Technical Essentials and also the AWS Solutions Architect Associate level. Also, I want to highlight this part that you can see these are self-learning plus live classes plus labs. And labs are included in this course outline, and also for the one AWS Cloud Operations which we have talked about. Maybe let me just click on one of them and show you what exactly is inside, just to give you an overview. So self-learning videos are basically will be having all the syllabus here of the program, which you can go through one by one to, unlock the progress for the certificate. Maybe let me just quickly play one for you. Let's see if I'm able to play one. So I'll just play one. And also, just a second. Yeah, I'll just
AWS infrastructure is measured comparatively with other cloud providers in the market. As cloud adoption continues to increase, it becomes the new normal for many customers across industries, sizes, and geographies. So this Gartner Magic Quadrant, which is what we are seeing in the screen right now, this is used to analyze the cloud infrastructure and the services provided by the cloud providers across multiple providers. So they usually, Gartner's Magic Quadrant, measure the services provided by the cloud providers across two variables.
Again, like just to give an example, again, like you can see the whole syllabus here. I see a request for the link towards the program. I'll share that in the upcoming slide. So please don't worry about that. And now the live classes. So it's a blend of live and self-learning. And you can see the available upcoming classes here for all the programs here. You can see the AWS Solutions Architect here, batch upcoming. This is in progress right now. And yeah, you can select the options as this is the global program, keeping in mind this is for a global audience, a global set of aspiring learners. So we have the basically timings also assigned like that. So yeah, you can check out here. And once you basically, register for a class, your classes will be visible here in this section. And in case you want to go through the recording of the sessions, you can go and check out in the past classes sections here. And yeah, we do have assessments here. You can see here there are tests and there are 3 attempts available here. There are course and projects, which makes it, pretty hands-on. We have reference materials, ebooks, practice labs. lab guide projects, and the practice labs, which already Prakash has talked about. So these practice labs here, you can see this is provided by the learning management system by Simplilearn, where you get to access, integrated labs. These labs are designed to provide you with a hands-on learning experience that will enhance your understanding of key concepts and skills in the field. So yeah, that is just a summit, and you can basically launch the labs here and start working on the projects and to basically get experience on hands-on learning. So yeah, and also we do have a help section here available as well, which is available 24/7. You can just go and quickly chat with us here, and it can be related to anything about the certificate, labs, project assessments, any issue you might be facing. And also you can go and check out other details in the learning my system by Simplilearn. Yeah, again, like all the other courses which you have opted for can also be checked out here. So yeah, just to quickly sum up that, and with that I would like to go back to the program slides here. And yeah, we do have a lot of interesting questions in the Q&A box, and we'll be taking your questions pretty soon in the Q&A part of the session. I will be sharing the program fee and the scan code for these programs as well, so please don't worry about that. But with that, we would like to conclude and would like to understand, would you like to enroll into these AWS programs? So first, we would like to know your interest in enrolling, so you can respond by saying yes or no. And after that, I'll ask you which of the programs out of four which you would be interested in enrolling. And you can also let us know by putting down a question you might have, for the program you have chosen for. So we do have time for that. So I'm just launching this poll to understand, would you like to enroll into any of these AWS program? You can respond by responding yes on the poll, which is live on Zoom. And folks who are watching us live on our YouTube channel, you can also share your response as yes and share your few basic details. You can see a link on the YouTube live chat box on the top, and click on that and it'll take you to the program page. And yeah, you can just share your few basic details to share your interest, and similar enrollment steps will be followed, which I'll be sharing after this. Yeah. Awesome. I see most of you have already started responding. You folks are pretty quick here. And yeah, like I think we are very eager to address your queries in the Q&A box. We'll definitely give you a lot of clarity here. And I see a lot of questions about the cost of these programs. I'll share that in the enrollment steps, as mentioned in the agenda of the session. So it is upcoming next. So yeah, please don't worry. I'll also share the links where you can go and download the syllabus of these programs and go through these modules, the outline of these courses as well, based on the interest you share here and any questions you might have about the program. So the learning consultants from Simplilearn will help you out with that. So please don't worry about that. Awesome. I see most of you have responded, but let's give it 10-15 seconds more, because we need to address your questions as well. We do have a few minutes left here, so we can utilize that time. A lot of yeses on the chat. That's great. Please make sure that you go and vote on this poll as well. So last 5 seconds for the poll here. Would you like to enroll into the AWS programs? And the next poll is upcoming for which program are you interested in? So yeah. So last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your interest here. A lot of you folks have already shared their interest. Now, which AWS program are you interested in enrolling in? So I'm launching this poll, and quickly you can go and just choose which of the ones are you interested in enrolling. And you can select one option here. This will definitely help us into directing onto which course you would want to take up. So the first one here is the cloud operations on AWS, which we have covered. And the second one is DevOps engineering on AWS. Third one, advanced architecting on AWS. And the fourth one, AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program, which I've already shared with you, the learning man system, how it looks like, the course outline and everything. Yeah. I see most of you have already started responding. You folks are pretty quick here. Let's give it 10-15 seconds more. Folks who have responded yes to the previous poll, please make sure to respond here. And yeah, I see a few questions here. I also was answering a few questions myself in the Q&A box. Questions about the recording. The recording you will be getting. Please don't worry. You should receive the recording over your mail, which you can go through. You should receive that within 24 to 48 hours. So any questions about the recording should help with that. Yeah. The programs are not free. Enrollment costs are there. I'll share that in the upcoming slide. Yeah. Last 10 seconds for the poll here. Which AWS program are you interested in enrolling in? So, yeah. So we can quickly move on to the enrollment steps and also the Q&A to address your questions here. Okay, I see one message here. I really love to attend this program and want the recording and certificate. Yes, we'll be giving you. Awesome. Last 5 seconds for the poll here. So we can move on to the enrollment steps. Which AWS program are you interested in enrolling in? Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end this poll. I'm so sorry, folks. I know you're responding still, but I have to end it now. We are running a little tight on time, but thank you so much for sharing your interest. And moving on to the enrollment steps. There are 3 simple, easy steps you'll have to follow based on the interests which you have already shared with us. So the learning consultants from Simplilearn will reach out to you and they will basically take you through these 3 simple, easy steps. So the first step here is you'll have to submit an application. You'll have to apply at askus@simplilearn.net. Step 2 will be your application will be going for review based on the eligibility and the prerequisites which I've shared earlier. In case you want to check it out later as well, I'll share the scan code of the program. You can save for yourself and download the syllabus later on. And the step 3 is based on the basically qualifications and the documents you share with us. The learning consultants will reach out to you and share the admissions offer letter with you. So yeah, now this is just to give you an overview of what's going to happen next, so you're aware of it. Now moving on to the fee here. So this fee here is for the AWS cloud operations program here. And for ROW candidates, the fee here is $1,300, including GST. And for Indian candidates, the fee here is 44,914, including GST INR. Again, like this might be a price after the discount, and the discount keeps changing throughout the month. So this is a really good time to enroll. We have a really good discount also going on, and we do have limited seats as well for the upcoming cohort. So the upcoming cohort, we do have weekend batches. The first one, which is the closest, is the 27th July one. And the second batch, which is the closest, is on 17th August. And even after this webinar, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net. Let me just quickly, put that email ID on the chat here. askus@simplilearn.net for you. So you can just keep a note of it and reach out to us. Any questions you might have, I will help you with that. Now moving on to the Q&A part of the session. So this is a scan code for the program details. You can just quickly go and basically scan this or take a screenshot of this based on if you've joined from your mobile or your laptop, and this should take you to the program page to download the syllabus. So please do that and let me know if you're facing any issues with the scan code. Prakash, I think we can quickly start taking up these questions. I noticed that I've already started answering questions in the Q&A box as well. So please,
I
folks,
did one.
check out. So yeah.
Yeah, I did one actually. So I answered one, but others I would probably go ahead and quickly answer it live.
Sure.
So one of the question is there a difference between cloud operations versus cloud architect? So I think I did that already. Yes, there is difference. Cloud architect, you do it designing. Cloud operations, you maintain day-to-day job, right? Another questions in the chat Q&A is, I want to do AWS Cloud Practitioner foundational exam course. How can I clear it? From where should I take the course, resources, duration for preparation? So for every exam in AWS, we got the exam guide as well. So you can simply go check out the exam guide that will give you the idea like how to prepare for the examination, which courses are recommended, which content you need to study or learn. AWS courses can help you in order to clear those examinations, right? Another question is how to build my skills on AWS, right? And that is why these trainings are here. So you can attend the training program from the foundational to the associate to the specialty level training programs. And also if you search for AWS documentation, you can get a lot of documentation as well. But yeah, trainings can be one method to quickly get started with your AWS learning. Another question is how many days will the course be conducted? It depends on which course that we are talking about. Cloud operations on AWS in this case is a 3 days training program, right? But the duration can vary. 1 to 3 days usually the courses are, right? Uh, Thank you. Another questions, I'm aged 31 years old and had started degree data science first year, whether I'm will be able to secure a job in any organization at 41 after my data science graduations. Well, there is never too late in order to get started with your learning, and um, kind of experience that you hold, plus the new learning. Everyone is learning. We all are learning, and learning is a continuous journey. Um, so get started with your learning today and uh, keep trying. I mean, that is the best thing that you can do, right? So all the best for that. Are we charged for the use of our AWS account to complete the course task? Is the question. Well, it in AWS you got when you create an AWS account, actually, you get 12 months of free tier eligibility. But you have to understand what exactly is the meaning of free tier eligibility. So for that, in AWS, we also have a link uh, for free tier, which basically tells you like what are the free services, what are the services in what amount, under what condition that you can use in order to getting charged for that, right? So look at AWS free tier in order to learn about that. Another questions, already doing AWS Solution Architect course. Great. That's a good start. Solution Architect is a good course. I hope you might be getting a lot of learning already in there. So great. But as I mentioned, this is designing the cloud operations is about performing the day-to-day activities, handling your operations in the cloud operations on AWS. So that's the difference. In AWS monitoring, is it use the Datadog? Nope. We in AWS we do have monitoring services. CloudWatch is one of them. You can study about it or you can learn about it. Another question. So what's the difference between VPC and VPS, that is virtual private server? So VPC is a network. VPS in AWS, there is no terminology. Probably you're talking about some other cloud vendor. So you need to explore VPS. Probably the technology, if you see, they might work similarly. So you want to keep an eye on that. Another questions, referencing a questions from chat in AWS monitoring, is it using the Datadog? I answered it. Nope. You provide access to AWS Lab. Can we use it for experimenting and learning purpose? Example, if I want to deploy my personal project utilizing specific service, is there any limit or lab usage per person? So the labs usually in the courses, they are designed in order to accomplish the specific task. They are the live lab. They are the AWS accounts behind it on which you are using those services. So you can configure it, you can misconfigure it based on the lab requirement. Okay, so these are actual live labs. But the thing is that they, the access control and delegation that I was talking about, that is also applicable. So not necessarily you will be able to explore all other services, since labs are designed in order to accomplish a specific learning. Okay, so we focus on that particular part of it, right? I hope you get your answer. In case not, put it in again. How do I get started with the DevOps engineering on AWS? So how do I get started with the DevOps engineering on AWS? We got a training program on that. Look at that, or probably try to get enrolled for DevOps engineering on AWS course. AWS Architect course, will there be examples from simple to complex projects? Yes, we talk about the services which will help you in order to understand or design simple to complex architectures for your projects. Okay, so yep. But we also have advanced architecting, which is level 2 or level 300 program. So architecting on AWS is level 2. Advanced architecting on AWS is level 300 training program. May I know difference between Azure and AWS? Both are important. Depends on your business requirements. You should be evaluating your need, and both are very strong cloud providers. You should be evaluating your learning. Look at where you are getting better redundancy, where you're getting better cost, which offers more number of services, right? Which can help you fulfill your business requirement, because more number of services means more number of use cases as well. Okay, so evaluate those things. Those are important aspects. So multiple aspects are there in which you should be evaluating. Another questions, hi, are these AWS cloud certification courses available to study worldwide? I live in Ireland. Probably, Rasha, I think you should be taking up this question. Are these AWS cloud certifications courses available to study worldwide?
Yes, yes, yeah. They
Yep,
are global programs, yeah.
the word is becoming smaller, right? So the answer is yes, you can attend it across the globe. In Ireland, yes, definitely. All the best for your learning. Is your master program accredited? This is for you as well. Again, Rasha.
Yes, yes, we do have. What I'll do is I'll share the details after this program for all the courses. I've shared one on the screen, but I'll share it after this as well. So you can check
Okay.
out for yourself as well, the
Thank
details.
you. Thank you. How much is the training? I think you answered that question already. Probably this was before that. So
Mhm.
you probably will be sharing the details on that. How much duration every day? So the courses are designed for 8 hours per day, okay, along with the hands-on labs and breaks included. Uh, is the AWS Master Programs the best option because it covers all aspect of the AWS cloud? Yes, these programs are designed specifically in order to accomplish a certain uh, aspect of it, right? So we do put a lot of efforts in order to design, understanding the customer's requirements, understanding the job requirements, and then creating these programs. So these are designed considering a lot of aspect. Okay, so we put a lot of hard efforts in there. So hopefully these will be pretty useful for you as well. Will we get a certification of this session? I think, as
Yes, yes,
Rasha
yeah.
mentioned, yes, you will be getting it, but look out for the um,
Webinar code, yeah. So,
webinar board. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Okay, thank you. What's the difference between VPC and VPS? I think I answered these questions already before. What is the price or cost of the AWS Cloud Master Program in euros? Rasha, I think this is for you.
So for this, what I'll do is I'll share the link of the program. So just wait for that.
Super. So you'll be getting the update on that. Will we get a certification at the end of this? Yes, you will be getting it on your mailbox, I believe. Rasha, correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure, sure.
How AWS is different from Azure? I think I answered this, but evaluate your choices. Hi, did AWS Solution Architect certifications 2 years before now it is expired? Also after completing this course, we get any discount voucher for the exam, Rasha?
No, we do not get any discount voucher, but for taking up the program, basically this course, we do have discounts going on for that particular thing. That you can scan this code and you can go to it, you will get to know there is an
Got
offer going on.
Got it. By the way, AWS certifications comes with 3 years of validity. Next question, I want to manage my application that I will host it on AWS is the cloud operation. I want to manage my applications that I will host it on AWS is the cloud operations AWS course best course. Yes, if you have already deployed it, that means you have already architected, you have the knowledge of it. Now you are operating cloud operations on AWS for you. I'm undergraduate person. Is it a good start for my career in this? Yes, why not? Right, all the best for that. Um, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Um, is this session recorded
Yes,
and can we get
yeah.
a
Over
link to
over mail
YouTube
you should get within 24 to 40
over the
hours.
mail? Superb. How does Simplilearn, not AWS? Why does Simplilearn not support AWS exams after the course? Why does Simplilearn not support AWS exam after the course?
Basically, I think they're talking about the certification. So yeah.
Yeah, so look out the AWS exam guide that I was talking about.
Mhm.
Look at that. That will help you in order to appear for the examination because learning plus experience could be helping, hands-on, that will be important. So do the hands-on, and then the exam will be easy for you to, to attend and to clear from there.
Yes, and a lot of questions about the links, right? So what I'm
Thank you.
doing is I'm going to the cloud computing category here and sharing the category link with you where you can go and explore, like all the other programs as well. So I'm just doing that quickly. I'm so sorry, my cursor is moving a little crazy. I know a lot of you are waiting for the webinar certificate code. Please don't worry about that. We will go there. So just a minute. Okay, fine. Let me share it like after the webinar certificate poll. So sorry for that. Meanwhile, I'll fix that. And yeah, moving on towards the end. After this, we'll be doing the webinar certificate poll. But before that, we would also love to thank our expert speaker Parkash Bisht here for taking us through the outline of the course and addressing basically almost all the questions here. So thank you so much for that, Prakash. Thank you for taking us through the course outline and speaking more about AWS and other courses as well, and helping folks out with their queries here. So thank you so much. Would you like to say something to the folks before we move towards the end?
Yeah, so thank you, Rasha. Thank you, first of all, for conducting this session and for inviting me to this program. I hope everyone attending this program should have got some idea about how to get started with your AWS journey, or how to get started with your AWS learning, basically. So it's important, folks, that you get started with your learning. And these certifications programs or these courses are really gives you a good start to get started with your AWS learning, right? So all the best. Don't wait. Uh, Try to enroll for these training programs. Try to get started with your learning as well, right? I wish you all the best. Um, you you have my you can reach out to me over the
Yeah,
LinkedIn
I'll share
part,
the
right?
LinkedIn ID. I
You
think
do?
I have
Yeah. You haven't done it
the
yet?
LinkedIn
Yeah,
FD
please
ID
do that.
here.
Yeah.
So I'll share that. Just a
Yeah.
second. I'll just quickly go to LinkedIn and I just have the ID with me here. And you can connect with Prakash and follow him for updates there as well. And yeah, let me just quickly do that. After this, we'll be moving on towards the webinar poll, sharing back the screen. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your amazing comments on the chat, folks. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Like Prakash, you can see that folks are,
Yep.
sending a lot of thanks and appreciation on the chat for you. So, awesome.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Prakash. Thank you. Now we will move on towards the webinar certificate poll. But before that, with all the appreciation you've given us on the chat, we would also love to know how was the session for you. You can rate us out of 5, 5 being the highest, 5 being the excellent. How satisfied are you with the content of the session? So you can rate us 5 if you really loved the session, if your questions were addressed, if you understood more about the AWS programs with Simplilearn. And I'll just give 10-15 seconds for the poll before we move on to the what's the webinar certificate poll. And apologies for extending the session by a few minutes because we wanted to address, all of the queries we have gotten there to make sure, to help you out in any way possible. So, yeah. Awesome, folks. Last 5 seconds for the poll here. How satisfied are you with the content of the session? And you can rate us out of 5. I see 5 out of 5 stars on the chat. That's great. I really appreciate it, Rohit. Thank you so much. Awesome. I'll be closing the poll in the next 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. You folks can direct your ratings towards the poll itself. Thank you so much. Now moving on towards the webinar certificate poll. So I'm just launching this poll. Now make sure to enter your full name and make sure there are no grammatical errors there because to receive a proof of attendance for this webinar, this is the full name which we are going to use to send you the personalized webinar certificate. Thank you so much. The poll is live right now and you can see the certificate of participation, how it looks like. this is John Smith, where you see this is these are the details we need from you. This will be from Simplilearn. And yeah, waiting for your responses in the poll here. Meanwhile, while you're giving your responses there, let me also quickly share with you the links. I think there was a lot of demand for the links there, right? So let me do that from my end to help you out. Hopefully. Also, folks, you also can expect the details about the program on your mail as well after the webinar. So you can look out for that as well. So yeah, in case you have any confusions there. Last 10 seconds for the webinar certificate poll. And thank you so much for being an amazing audience, folks here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time here. I'm just quickly sharing the links with you. This is for the AWS Cloud Architect. I'm just dropping the links here on the chat. And next one is AWS Solutions Architect. Also, you can check out. You can go and download the syllabus here. Thank you so much. We enjoyed the session. Would love to know your name as well. Not able to make out your name from your username, but yeah, like you can check out other programs, AWS Cloud Operations. I'm sharing that link as well. So yeah, I hope this helps. Like I'm just sharing all the links on the chat here. In case you're not able to, basically look out for the syllabus or the program page right now, please don't worry. You can expect a follow-up email from us with the program page details. So, yeah. Awesome. I think I should be closing the poll now. I see most of you responded. So last 5 seconds for the webinar certificate poll. Last 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me end the poll. And yeah, thank you so much, folks. Thank you for being an amazing audience once again. Thank you so much for sharing, such amazing comments on the chat here. And also you can, share the certificates and about the session and also follow Prakash. I've shared his profile as well. You can tag him as well. Share your insights. Folks are already doing that. They're using the hashtag SimplyGrow. So I'll share this link of the hashtag with you quickly. You can follow it as well. There are, a lot of people who are already following it. And they're sharing their insights about the sessions, how did they like it. And as these programs are global, you'll be seeing a lot of folks, globally, connecting with each other through these, webinars. So I'm just sharing this link on the chat. And yeah, check out, you'll find a lot of folks, sharing details about this webinar and other webinars as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for being an amazing audience. We will be ending the session now. And you should receive the certificates within 24 to 48 hours, along with a separate mail for recording link and program details. So thank you so much. Thank you.